young as Austin Wiley. He jumps center with Adebayo. Wiley should be a high school senior right now. That is taking early enrollee to the extremes. Auburn wins a tip. They're in the road orange. Kentucky in their home white, where they have won 49 of 51 matchups all time with Auburn. Mustafa Heron with a nice look inside to Wiley, and the freshman from Hoover, Alabama, has Auburn on the board.
Well, great job from Auburn, and what did we see? What Bruce Pearl talked about, attacking Bam Adebayo off of those ball screen actions. They get Wiley a nice little bunny to start the game.
Isaiah Briscoe bumped coming around the handoff by Lang, and Adebayo in on Wiley. Wiley's at 6'11". Good two-man game here. Back out to Fox, and the lefty leaves it short, but an offensive rebound. Here's Malik Monk. Gabriel will put up a three. Not the guy you'd expect, but he knocks down his first. And De'Aaron Fox is going to pick up Jared Harper full court. Tempo will be a question throughout this game today. Auburn and Kentucky, two of the fastest teams in the SEC. Bruce Pearl told us today, pressing is our strength, but we can't press Kentucky.
I don't know if there's many teams in the country that can press Kentucky because of the speed and the ball handling ability of De'Aaron Fox.
DJ Dunans into the paint. That one swatted all the way out towards midcourt. It came with two on the shot clock, and Gabriel's had an impact already in the first.
This is premium unleaded. We're, by the way, right on the average for total possessions for both Auburn and Kentucky. Bruce Pearl said we're not going to slow it down. We're going to play our game. We're going to be smart about it, but we're not going to change what we do. And Auburn right there in terms of their average possessions. Kentucky and Auburn 1-2 in the SEC. Baseline drive will result in a whistle. Let's check in with Kaylee Hartzog.
Well, Tom, Bruce Pearl knew he was going to have to pick his poison playing against this Kentucky team. They dared De'Aaron Fox to beat them in that first half, and it turns out he did. So you'll see some adjustments here as he says Fox just doesn't have enough eyes on him in transition. Now, in that first half, they thought they could go under ball screens, but now he wants his point guards trying to press up, make him go over the top. Yes, that opens Bam up to the boards, but again, you got to pick your poison. They're willing to do that to see if they can stop Fox.
Yeah, Bruce is fully aware that Kentucky knocked down 8 threes in the first half. Monk a pair, and Gabriel hit 2. That was a third personal foul, by the way, on Isaiah Briscoe. That might open the door for Auburn as Mustafa Heron knocks down the second.
It certainly will help them defensively. One less scoring threat on the floor on the perimeter. Dominique Hawkins does a pretty good job on the defensive end, but certainly not the scoring threat that Isaiah Briscoe is on the offensive end of the floor.
Quick look inside to Adebayo, and he walked with it.
Yeah, they love that play early on to give Bam a good post look, a good post-up look. And you see, how do you beat Kentucky? And UCLA did it by outrunning them. Louisville did it by slowing it down. I would add two things on the end of that. Outrunning them with an elite offense, right? Yes. I mean, UCLA has an elite offense. Slowing it down with an elite defense. Louisville has an elite defense. So you can run with them, but if you don't have the horses to be able to do it and the guys that can put the basketball in the hole like UCLA has, whether it's Lonzo Ball or TJ Leaf, you're not going to have a ton of success. So you have to be elite in one area of the game to be able to do this against this Kentucky team.
That was the second foul on Jared Harper. Wiley thought he was straight up. Kentucky is 2-0-1 and 3 under Cal. Went up by double digits at any time in the game, which is a remarkable number. Okay, so let's translate those two losses to SEC play. South Carolina comes in here a week from tonight. They have an elite defense. February 4th, Kentucky will go to Florida. They have an elite defense, although they do it a little bit differently. Both tops in the leagues in steals. Florida gambles more in the open court. South Carolina fills the passing lanes.
Well, there's no question Kentucky's the favorite in every game that they play, I think, this season in the SEC. It's a challenge to score with them, and even if you have an elite defense, their offense puts so much pressure on your defense to not necessarily pitch a shutout, but to be pretty darn good. And so that will be the challenge for Florida and South Carolina. Can they score enough to beat Kentucky if their defense is playing at a high level?
De'Aaron Fox playing at a high level. The rebound, the push, Hawkins into Adebayo. Back out to Fox. And the dump for Gabriel maybe took a step. And we got a foul on the floor on Mustafa Heron. That's his third. He is a third Auburn starter. to have 3 personal fouls here with a minute and a half into the second half. Moments ago, Isaiah Briscoe and John Calipari. John Calipari said something insightful, well, a lot of insightful stuff anytime you talk with him, but talking yesterday about a player's confidence. He said anytime a coach gets on you and you drop your head, that's a bad sign. He said, now, we got some guys who will mutter under their breath to the coach. Like, come on, man, you don't know what you're talking about. Now, they do it under the breath to him, but it's his confidence, another confidence from Isaiah Briscoe. You're going to tap the Hall of Famer on the backside.
If you watch Kentucky practice, you'll see Isaiah Briscoe smirk a lot of the times when Cal is getting on him or getting on somebody else, or laugh. Not in a disrespectful way, but he doesn't mind. He doesn't mind being coached. He doesn't mind that Cal is hard on him from time to time. And I'm sure John Calipari was just giving him some words of encouragement, picking up that 3rd foul early in the second half, not being able to be on the court right now with his guys.
Single digits on the shot clock. Dunans drives and dishes. Shot clock at 5 now. The freshman Heron took a bump. We'll get the whistle. It'll be on Bam Adebayo. It's his second. So let's take a look. We are early on in Southeastern Conference play. Florida with a huge win today. Canyon Berry had another remarkable game. He had 27 points, including 2 4-point plays in a win at home against Georgia.
Florida, I think, is the clear second best team in the SEC, at least to this point. South Carolina right behind them, and Kentucky, the odds-on favorite to win the conference again. You know, going back to that confidence thing, Tom, I've always felt like as a player, there has to be a part of you that nobody can touch, that nobody can mess with, that a coach can't rattle, that is just your confidence. It stems from the work that you've put in and how good you think you are. Because if you allow people to day to day mess with your confidence, then you're going to have an up and down career. That's the way it's going to be. So when Cat was talking about that yesterday, that resonated with me, because I know as a player, that's what you think is, you know what, I'm going to have a certain level of confidence and I know what I'm doing out there when I play.
I know your confidence grew year after year in your time in Knoxville, but did you ever smirk at Pat Summitt?
You want her backwards turned, yes. Maybe a couple times my freshman year when she was facing me. That didn't go so well. I can report back. That did not go well.
Here's Dunans. He's been aggressive, and he's able to get to the window. He's in double figures. And some hand-to-hand inside, and Austin Wiley picks up his 4th. Austin Wiley's a really interesting story for Auburn, an early enrollee. He joined the team on December 16th, and Bruce Pearl said, listen, this kid does a lot of things well. We're going to see more and more early enrollees. He should be in the second half of his high school senior season, but post defense is one area that he's behind.
Defense is an area that most freshmen are behind. I mean, I can't imagine coming into conference play and not having the preseason, not having the practices. I know how much the freshmen around college basketball have improved from having been in systems for 3 months, and Austin Wiley is trying to do it on the fly, so there's no question. He makes some mistakes on the defensive end, particularly, and he's going to get better.
He practiced all of 2 days before his Auburn debut. Meanwhile, Kentucky has its own early enrollee, but they don't expect to see any playing time for the newest Cat this season. Here's Adebayo. Beautiful touch. He's got 10 now. Hamidou Diallo just joined this Kentucky program. We saw him in practice yesterday. What were your thoughts for a kid with his really first full workout with another 6th-ranked team in the country?
I was impressed. I certainly didn't have a high expectation level because he's in the same situation, as you mentioned, as Wiley, a high school guy coming into the Kentucky program. You have to learn the jargon. You have to learn the scheme. You have to learn the plays. But I loved his athleticism. I loved his willingness to listen and learn. And I loved how the rest of the team embraced him. It seemed like a lot of guys were out there trying to help him out and trying to get him up to speed as quickly as possible.
That was the 3rd personal foul on Jared Harper. T.J. Lang has 3. Mustafa Heron has 3. Austin Wiley has 4. And we got a whistle going the other way against Kentucky.
We're going to go with Briscoe here.
Michael Mulder commits his first personal foul. Isaiah Briscoe returns, playing with 3. time you watch Southeastern Conference basketball this season, you should be reminded you're watching the youngest league in all of college basketball. Mississippi State Ben Howland, the youngest team of basketball. Austin Wiley should be a high school senior, but he's playing in the SEC now. And so when we return, we'll address the question. We'll try to find an answer. Should I stay or should I go? Something different. It's something new in college basketball. They've been doing it in college football for years where guys will forego their second semester, but they're not giving up high school football because the season is over and they get in town in time not to play games, but to participate in the weight, strength and conditioning programs, and then spring practice. This is different for basketball. Do you like this trend?
Well, it's different in that they're also not being asked to play right away in football when they come, right? When they come in January, they have 8-9 months before they have to play. In Austin Wiley's case, I mean, he's playing right away. I don't know that this will become a trend. I mean, you're asking a young man to give up a lot. You're asking him to give up his senior season in basketball. You're asking him to give up potential. I mean, these two guys, in all likelihood, would have been in the McDonald's All-American game. You're asking them to give up all of those opportunities for a chance to come and practice, maybe not even play games. So I think it's an individual case-by-case basis. It was interesting. We had a split decision when we talked to Cal and Bruce Pearl. Cal didn't think it would become a trend. Bruce Pearl seemed to think that we may see more and more guys doing it.
Lang with the back cut. It's pinned by Fox. And they're going to get Fox for a foul. That's his second. For more on Hamidou Diallo, let's check in with Kaylee.
Well, Diallo in his first full work day with the Cats yesterday at practice, talking to associate head coach Kenny Payne, he was telling me how impressed he was with Diallo's instincts defensively. Contrast that with Bruce Pearl in saying that he sees his inexperience and his young team really come through on the defensive end. A great anecdote from Payne, as he said, one of the Kentucky big guys went up for a shot. Diallo got to the top of the square and blocked it. The team went nuts. You wouldn't tell me who that big guy was who got blocked by the high school senior in his first day with the Cats. But this guy doing a lot to impress his teammates.
And Kaylee, he got a lot of help from his new teammates.
Yeah, he did. I mean, they were going through just some shell pieces, and, Bam Adebayo was on the offensive end, but he was instructing Diallo, who was on the defensive end, telling him where he should be and kind of putting his arm on him and pushing him out to where he should be, because there's a rhythm and there's a communication piece to this that's new. And you talk all the time, you mentioned football, about a playbook and what you call things. What programs call things can be different, and from high school to college. And so those are the types of things that Diallo's going to have to pick up and try and pick up quickly. But I think he'll add a lot to their practices. If nothing else, some really good competition.
Here's Briscoe with the mid-range jumper. It was funny. I asked John Calipari as we were talking to him after practice yesterday, I said, how does adding this kid help the program this year? And he was at a loss for words for a moment. He said, well, it doesn't help the program this year. It helps the kid, and it'll help the program next year when we're looking for leadership and guys with experience within the program. He said, but to be perfectly honest, the kid's not going to play. We don't want to play him. We will only play him if it's what's best for the kid. And for that to happen, Diallo will have to establish himself at practice and show that he's ready to play at this level. Otherwise, they're not going to do it. Adebayo went spilling to the floor, and that's going to be a foul on Auburn and LaRon Smith, his third. On your screen, Adebayo.
Oh, yeah.
Taken down. Kentucky's going to be shooting free throws the rest of the way. Terry Oglesby and Sean Casey trying to figure out when that foul occurred. And it'll put Adebayo at the free throw line. Spencer took a shot. Second on Winton Gabriel. Derek Willis returns for Kentucky. Briscoe with the rebound. The push ahead to Monk. And Monk walked with it. Time to learn a little bit more about Winton Gabriel. Let's turn it to chapter 2. Kaylee?
Well, when Winton Gabriel was born in 1997 in South Sudan, it was in the middle of a civil war in the country. Now, just 2 weeks after he was born, his family sold everything they had and fled to Cairo, Egypt. They spent 3 years there in a refugee camp. The next move, with the help of the United Nations, to New Hampshire, where he grew up.
There's a three from Dunans. He's got 13, so that long and winding road for Winton Gabriel. It ends up with him in Lexington, Kentucky. By the way, he didn't play AAU basketball. It faces kind of competition. At least not relative to what his teammates have faced. Nice slide by Dunans. He's got 15 now. Adebayo, great position and a two-hand jam. It's a 50th dunk of the season for Bam Adebayo. He gets some high percentage looks, doesn't he?
He's fortunate enough to play with some guys that command attention. They look for early post hits as Dunans is starting to get up a little bit. I think a way to involve Bam more is in transition, early post hit right there before the defense can set up, get him an opportunity. It's so hard to keep him out of his position. Don't let the defense load up. TJ Dunans has done a good job of keeping Auburn within arm's length. I mean, he's aggressive, he's attacked. He's exposed some holes in that Kentucky defense, particularly at the rim. He's put his head down and gotten to the rim. That help side has been late or unaware.
That was a weak link in the UCLA game. TJ Leaf finished with 17 for the Bruins. And John Calipari said our defense, especially on these straight line drives, was non-existent that night. It's the only home loss of the season for Kentucky. In fact, they've won 45 out of 46 here at Rupp. Dunans guarded by Fox. I don't think TJ Dunans is going to give it up. Fox tried to rip him from behind. Dunans finishes off the window. 20, he's one off his career high. He's taken over the second half. A 6-point game thanks to a 10-2 run. Fox, little floater, and it's pulled down by Auburn. Tigers can make it a one-possession game. Dunans gives it up. And Johnson got a bump from Fox. It's the third on Kentucky's point guard. A great big Monday doubleheader for you on ESPN. We start in the ACC with the Tar Heels playing host to the Orange at 7 o'clock Eastern. Then at 9 o'clock, Kansas squares off with Iowa State. Both games streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN. Auburn is only one that's building 2 times in their entire history. Man who coached him to both of those wins, Sonny Smith, is courtside with the Auburn radio crew. He's got to like that move. Horace Spencer rolls it in.
What did he talk about with John Calipari about what's a challenge for his team? Do we have the discipline to play through the shot clock, to execute like Briscoe does right there? That is what Auburn has been able to do. Get Kentucky's offense in a half-court setting, take them out of transition, which was something De'Aaron Fox was able to run wild in the first half in doing so. And in doing that, they're able now to have a fighting chance to defend them. Now, it doesn't hurt that they're making shots. When you make shots, that enables you to set up your defense. But that's what's kind of tilted this game back into the Auburn Tigers' favor here in the second half.
So Ronnie Johnson at the free throw line now. Auburn has gone on this run, thanks in large part to TJ Dunans, who has 12 in the first 8 minutes of the second half. They've done it with Jared Harper and Austin Wiley, among others, on the bench in foul trouble. Even Mustafa Heron, who has 3 and is their leading scorer, hasn't been impactful in the second half. Got to make some free throws. Auburn has been abysmal at the free throw line today.
Briscoe. Shot clock will go to single digits. Briscoe has 6 points tonight. Baseline drive. He's got it. So Briscoe has scored the last 5 to open it up for Kentucky. Aaron, this should be a mismatch. And Adebayo still gets the block. Briscoe got fouled across the face by Horace Spencer. It's a first on Spencer. So both teams making some adjustments coming out of the half. And Isaiah Briscoe doing the same.
Things start to go sideways for Kentucky. Who stepped
with us at the SEC Network? And as you scan those jerseys, the one thing you don't see is all the superstars under John Calipari. To get your jersey retired here, you must be 5 years removed from concluding your playing career. But it stands to reason that very soon they're going to have to find another railing to hang those jerseys on.
I would think Anthony Davis would be right up there, right? National Player of the Year, led his team to a national championship. First pick in the draft.
That'd be as automatic as you can get. Jared Harper back on the floor for Auburn. Harper drives, got a bump from Humphries. Meanwhile, Chuck Person has his number retired by Auburn. He was part of the team. Of 2 teams that came in here to knock off Kentucky in the history of this series between the Tigers and the Wildcats. Bruce Pearl does a little bit different with his coaching staff. Chuck handles a lot of the defensive calls, where Bruce will handle a lot of the offensive calls.
He's one of my favorite NBA players of all time when I was growing up. The rifleman.
Shouldn't he be coaching offense? That's always been my question.
You know, a lot of coaches want to give their assistant coaches opportunities to be well-rounded. And I know Chuck has designs on being a head coach and running his own program one day. So I think it's good to have a balanced approach to what you do as a group.
He had 20 points back in their meeting in 1983. It was an 8-point Auburn win. They knocked off the 6th-ranked Cats. Also beat him here in 1988, knocking off Rex Chapman in Kentucky with a last-second shot from John Taylor. Corner 3, Monk. Whoa, he can rise and fire. 15 now for the freshman. He gets so much elevation as jump shot, it looks almost impossible to defend. Dunans, nice hesitation. Beautiful move to the rim.
He's been great, hasn't he?
A career high 22.
Wow.
And efficient. Briscoe. And that was designed by John Calipari. Just let Isaiah Briscoe do his work.
And his ability to drive, to be able to finish among the trees, I mean, it's as good as it gets in college basketball. I mean, Frank Mason has been great at it for Kansas. Isaiah Briscoe, in terms of his strength and his ability to finish through contact around size, is just remarkable.
Briscoe whistled for the illegal screen. He put Lang on his backside. That is the 4th down Briscoe. T.J. Dunans is doing seemingly whatever he wants on the floor.
And he's been able to keep Auburn at arm's length. I mean, every time it's felt like Kentucky's going to pull away with this thing, getting a double-digit lead and stretch it out even more. Dunans has done a terrific job of just making individual plays. I mean, individual plays, one-on-one, utilizing his size and his breakdown ability just to make shots for his team.
He's been able to get to the rim. Kaylee, what are you hearing from the Kentucky bench and John Calipari about defending those drives?
Well, Cal looked at his team almost quizzically during that last timeout, saying, you're just letting them drive. You can't push up on them and allow them to go around you. You got to give them some ground and then cut it off.
Meanwhile, on the other side, Kentucky has turned it up offensively now in the second half after a slow start. And it's 7 of 14 overall. Auburn had it as close as 4. Fox hangs and draws a whistle. It's a second on Horace Spencer. The many faces of John Calipari.
I'll tell you what, if he wasn't wearing a white shirt, yes, we might see some sweat, like BP over there, okay? If he wasn't wearing, or didn't have a button.
Coaching is its own kind of sauna. This is both into Spencer's hands. See if Auburn has a run in him. Watching John Calipari is its own kind of theater. Dunans has been remarkable in the second half. Set up Monk for the crossover, and Monk recovered the block. 8 on the shot clock. Herron steps through and he banks it in. Fox on the run to Hawkins. Adebayo pushed off. He sent Spencer sprawling. It's the third on Kentucky's big man. So on one side, John Calipari, the equally as animated Bruce Pearl. Mismatch. Herron. Got it! Big time three from the freshman. We've got a 6-point game. Monk. The answer.
That's his fifth.
.7:23 remaining, and Darren Fox beside himself with frustration. He's done with 13 points, and the crowd starting to come alive here at Rupp as Auburn have more magic in their hat.
Projected in the NBA draft in 2017. We talked about in the first half, 5 NBA GMs, almost 20 NBA scouts here in attendance to watch not only these guys, but the other freshmen in this game.
Well, Fox will watch the rest of the game along with those GMs after fouling out. Mustafa Herron goes 1 of 2 from the line. He's the first 5-star to sign in Auburn history. Neither team shooting the ball well from the free throw line. Auburn just 4 of 13. Kentucky 10 of 23. It stands to reason that somebody is going to lose this game at the free throw line today. Monk with Brown in front of him. John Calipari wondering where the whistle was. Door open for Auburn. Hawkins out of there with it. Here's Monk. Behind the back. Over his shoulder. Hawkins the jam.
How good was that? Full speed. Malik Monk eludes the first defender. Nice little drop over the shoulder pass to Dominique Hawkins. That was a special play. And now we hear Rupp. Now we hear they get it going, getting behind their team.
Harper from deep. Auburn on the floor to get it. And it'll be over and back. And an Auburn turnover. 12th turnover tonight for the Tigers.
We talked about leadership in the first half, and where does it come from this Kentucky team when you have a team that has so much youth? And the player it comes from is Isaiah Briscoe, and he is now into the forefront not only as a leader, but by position. De'Aaron Fox is out, 5 fouls. Who takes over the point guard position? It's Briscoe to help lead this team down the stretch.
A reach in on Bryce Brown, who commits his second personal foul. Isaiah Briscoe in the first half only had 3 points. Took a seat on the bench 20 seconds into the second half with his 3rd foul. He's still come alive since then. Monk has 19. So Briscoe out of the game for a moment. Mulder on the floor. They'll let Hawkins run the point. Monk's 10th 20-point game of the season. The lead's back to a dozen. This is a scrappy Auburn team. That might sound disrespectful that they're not talented. They are also very talented. But we're seeing tonight, they've got the attitude of their head coach. They're not going anywhere. And another big one. Bryce Brown with his first bucket of the game.
Wow, what a time for Bryce Brown to hit a shot. We talked about how he struggled from beyond the arc this season. It's a big-time play.
Brown gambled, and he commits his 3rd.
Brown, that's his 3rd.
Tonight at 11 Eastern, be sure to tune in to SportsCenter Night with Kevin Connors and Nicole Briscoe. They'll have highlights and breakdowns from the Seahawks, Falcons, and Texans, Patriots, and as well as the NBA, NHL, College Hoops, the Sony Open, previews of tomorrow's divisional games, and everything else from a sports-packed Saturday. Also streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN.
There's a lot going on in sports today. Great College Hoop Saturday.
Incredible Saturday.
Duke and Louisville. Louisville beat Duke in the ACI. I was wondering this as I was watching the game. So who do Kentucky fans cheer for when Duke plays Louisville?
Oh, my goodness.
Do they cheer? What happens there?
They cheer for a blackout. I think Kaylee knows the answer to this.
Talking to a Kentucky fan before this game, he asked me what I thought of the outcome. He said, we don't want anybody to win that one.
Pushing inside. And Wiley commits his 5th. So Bruce Pearl's starting center is done. Wiley with 6 points, and he's done. De'Aaron Fox fouled out at the 7:23 mark. Pearl's got a minute to decide who's going to replace Wiley. He's going to go with Spencer, and he wanted to pause a moment to give the officials a chance to think about it. Spencer had a good game against Missouri. Didn't miss a shot in the Tuesday night win in Columbia. Big time foul trouble for Auburn. Brown 3, Harper 3. Heron 3. Oh my goodness. Monk with an emphatic deuce. He's got 22. Five-minute mark. Heron lost it. Here comes Mulder. And 1. And the 3rd personal foul on Horace Spencer.
Can we see this again? I mean, this was so... You got to look away. You got to look away right after it happens. Look at this. Ah. I mean, his ability to rise and fire. And, you play like that just gives confidence and energy and a little bit of juice to everyone else on the floor. And Mulder's able to finish that transition play and get the end one. But I feel like I feel good. I feel good over here when Malik Monk dunks like that.
Bruce Pearl doesn't feel good about it, but
no.
He spoke in reverential tones and almost giddy excitement about the talent that's on this Kentucky team with us this morning, saying, let's appreciate what we have in front of us. You know, sometimes these Kentucky teams aren't appreciated. He said we beat them last year. That wasn't a great Kentucky team. This is a great team, and they are fun to watch. They're great for the sport of college basketball.
What De'Aaron Fox and Malik Monk have been able to do, it's not normal. And, you know, Kentucky has made a habit of great freshmen, and people around college basketball think this is normal. This is not normal to acclimate as quickly as they had, to be able to be such high achievers, particularly on the offensive end of the floor for both of them. I mean, it's remarkable what they're doing in their young careers.
Dunans now has 23, so they're being judged each and every day by the fans in Big Blue Nation and by the scouts that watch them for the next level. They're also judging themselves, right, Kaylee?
Tom, before the Vanderbilt game this past Tuesday, Sean Farnham and I asked Malik Monk, how would you grade yourself out to this point in the season? He said, I give myself a C. We said, what? Why? He said, because I'm not rebounding enough. You know, Cal has told him every game he thinks Malik Monk should be a double-double kind of guy. Those rebounding numbers have not yet followed the place Monk and Coach Cal want them to be.
Well, I'll give him an A for scoring. Only 3 times in SEC history has a freshman led the league in scoring. Chris Jackson scored 30 a game for Dale Brown and LSU in '89. Bernard King scored 26 in '75. And back when Georgia Tech was in the conference, Jim Nolan did it in 1946.
But Cal's like that professor that you stay away from, man, because if those are the grades that he's going to be giving out, I mean, I know that was Malik's self-grading, but you talk about somebody that stays on his guys, that is never satisfied, that is always picking at them, that is always challenging them day-to-day in practice. How can I expose and give them something that they need to work on and keep them on edge? And that's a part of his coaching genius. That's what makes him a special coach.
Well, it's easy to be comfortable, right? But how do you improve if you're never uncomfortable? And that's part of the development that each and every kid seems to go through when they get here. Spencer got hurt. Adebayo adds to the insult. Spencer took a shot to the throat, and Adebayo jams it for his 15th point. And Malik Monk is just laughing out on the floor. You think they're having fun? Herron, mid-range. Monk lost his man. Gabriel on the glass, gave it up just as he was being hog-tied by T.J. Dunans, who commits his third. Kentucky playing above the rim to the delight of Big Blue Nation and their very own
Kane, you are a king.
You know, when you grade Gabriel, I love his approach. He works his butt off. I mean, he works before practice. He works after practice. He's a guy that has a good-looking shot, but hasn't shot a great percentage from beyond the arc. He had only 4 threes coming into today's game. Has 2 already this afternoon. Kentucky is looking for a 5th player. They're looking for a guy that will step up and say, you know what, I'm going to be consistent. I'm going to be someone you can depend on. Going on today's performance, it might be Wenyon Gabriel, the player moving forward, that locks that up.
My favorite part of the story, and we've gotten through 3 chapters, is that there's more to be written for Wenyon Gabriel.
Yes, much more.
Yes. 16-point lead for Kentucky. Of all things, Wenyon Gabriel grew up a Duke fan. That's the only thing the Big Blue Nation doesn't like about Winton Gabriel. Adebayo kicks it out. Adebayo and Gabriel were the first 2 Wildcats on the floor today. Monk lost it. Shot clock at 1. Throws it up and throws it in. Is this kid having fun or what? Hey, Malik Monk, college basketball is not supposed to be this easy. Tough angle for Dunans. Gabriel with another rebound. 14th of the day.
Mama Joe Lenardi has Kentucky as a #1 seed in the NCAA tournament, the latest version of bracketology. They have a huge out-of-conference game coming, and Kansas arrives at Rupp Arena in a couple weeks. But then the question is, who in the SEC can give them a run? Mulder takes the victory lap. Which team defensively matches up better with Kentucky? Florida or South Carolina?
You know, I like South Carolina in terms of their connectivity on the defensive end of the floor, but I like that Florida has a bunch of different guys and some players with size and some different things that they can throw at. So I don't know if that's considered a push or not, but I think each have a different strength against this Kentucky team.
We're talking to Bruce Pearl today and about the opportunity to press or not press Kentucky made me lean a little bit more towards South Carolina because Casey Hill and Florida will gamble in their full-court press. And as Pearl pointed out, if you gamble, you get beat. It's a dunk the other way.
Yep.
So Mike White and company will have to decide what their game plan will be. Meet up with them twice. 3 best teams in the league will all meet twice. By the way, South Carolina should be ranked coming into next week. There were some losses the back end of the top 25, including Penn State knocking out number 24 Minnesota today. Auburn got within 4 early stages of the second half when Briscoe was on the bench in foul trouble. He returned. Kentucky was able to pull away. And Malik Monk able to lead the way for Kentucky with a team-high 24. Brown will spot up. What did we learn about Auburn today?
I was impressed with Auburn. Did not have one of their best players in D'Angelo Purifoy, their power forward. This is a team that's beaten Texas Tech. They've beaten Oklahoma. They've beaten UConn. They put in themselves in Kentucky. You can't go up there without a plan. I mean, Adebayo and Gabriel, they're going to send it back your way if you come in there without a plan.
Lang banks it in to beat the shot clock. And they're going to take a look at it. Terry Oglesby says,
and Bruce Pearl this morning, he said, if TJ Lang could come out and hit a couple threes, that would be big for us offensively. And I don't know if he thought it would be that way off the glass, but they'll take it.
Adebayo using his muscle inside. Jump hook way too high and strong. And here's a run out for Jared Harper. Numbers for the men in orange. And a missed opportunity for Dunans. Kentucky will push it the other way. Monk transition 3. Got it. And a whistle. Basket will count. We got a foul after the ball was in the air. It came on a push-off from Adebayo. It's his first personal.
Cannot miss opportunities. Cannot miss opportunities if you're Auburn. All right, Kentucky doesn't just intercept the ball, they go pick 6. Every single time that you make a mistake in transition, when you have numbers, they come back, they make you pay. And Kentucky does with Malik Monk right there.
Harper hounded by Fox again immediately on the inbounds. 2 great young guards in the SEC. Harper beats him with the left.
Yeah, he's not afraid. I mean, Jared Harper, if this is your first time getting a chance to see him play, he's small, but he's got a ton of poise. And again, you see how quickly De'Aaron Fox can come right back at you.
Kentucky is 6th in the nation in time of possession. And De'Aaron Fox takes it coast to coast to put Kentucky back in front. Hot start for Auburn. They've hit 3 of 4. Dunans got way under the basket. It ends up in Wiley's hands. He has 4 early. And then a bump in transition. Here's De'Aaron Fox doing what he does best.
So the last 2 possessions, this has happened for Auburn. First, it was Harper. Harper shoots the layup, so automatically he's going to be behind the 8 ball in terms of transition defense. Somebody has to stop the basketball. Not reach, but get in front, cut it off. And right there, Wiley, he dunks it. Adebayo gets a head start in transition. No one picks up Adebayo for him, and as a result, TJ Lang fouls.
And TJ Dunans with the foul there. That's his first and a second on Auburn.
You know, communication is always important in transition defense, Tom, but it's even more paramount when you play Kentucky because there's less time to spare in transition. They get it up so quickly.
Gabriel has his shot redirected, follows it, fights for it again. Gabriel with another offensive board. He gets tied up, and we've got a jump ball. It'll stay this direction with Kentucky. Briscoe. Nope. Gabriel's there again, and then he just collapsed. Gabriel a little banged up inside. Another offensive rebound. This time it's Briscoe. Malik Monk off the window. Already 5 offensive rebounds for Kentucky, and we're less than 4 minutes in. Five offensive rebounds on 7 missed shots. Sledding's tough for Dunans early. Second turnover. Into traffic, taken away by Jared Harper. And a whistle on the drive by Harper. So we've got a break in the action. 2 teams after Cal moved on to Kentucky, had success against them there, and he was at Tennessee. Nice back cut by Mustafa Heron. John Calipari was building his program at Memphis. Pearl, after Cal moved on to Kentucky, had success against them there, and he was at Tennessee. Nice back cut by Mustafa Heron. The freshman has a bucket. Auburn came into this game averaging 79 points a game, 12th in the country in tempo. They haven't shied away from pushing it at times here in the early going.
Well, I think they have to be opportunistic with their pushing the basketball. You cannot run and try and play the whole speed that Kentucky plays out for the entire game. But you look to push early, get some good shots. Now, the downside for Auburn of playing small is on the glass. Kentucky already with 6 offensive rebounds, so that's something to watch. They've got to find a way to make Kentucky one and done here.
John Calipari has yet to go to his bench in this one. Already Bruce Pearl has brought in Bryce Brown and LaRon Smith, and they harass Adebayo into a turnover, second turnover for the Cats. 5'10" freshman Jared Harper runs the point for Auburn. This is a basketball game and a pair of rosters that have a lot of eyeballs on them.
This is such a big game, Tom, not just for the SEC race, but also in terms of these guys' futures. 5 NBA GMs, 13 NBA scouts in the building, so a lot of eyes on these young teams, as Kaylee talked about at the top.
Anthony McLemore off the bench. He's got a follow-up bucket there, and Auburn has a 3-point lead. Gabriel has already hit 1 3, and he hits another. He started the game with a triple. He's a guy only shooting 20% from deep. Harper with a burst of speed, and he nearly turned it over. This is a fun matchup. Heron guarded by Briscoe. Pull up from the lefty. And the freshman can't knock it down. McLemore commits his first personal. Isaac Humphries off the bench for Kentucky. Adebayo will get a breather. He has yet to score in this one.
So this is now the stretch to watch if you're Kentucky. You know, when Bam Adebayo throughout the course of the season has gone to the bench, Kentucky hasn't fared well in terms of the plus-minus. And you see Fox with a nice drive off of that pick by Humphries. So how do they play? Are they able to keep things above water here with Bam on the bench?
Ronnie Johnson just checked in, the transfer from Houston, and Auburn turns it over immediately. Then Briscoe got tripped in the open floor, apparently, by Mustafa Heron. It's the first on Heron. Got another great Big Monday doubleheader for you at ESPN. We start in the ACC with North Carolina hosting Syracuse at 7 Eastern. Then at 9 p.m., Kansas squares off with Iowa State. Also streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN. Big win for North Carolina. They got Theo Pinson back. Got him back last week, and they're able to get the win at home this afternoon against Florida State.
No question that's a big win, and without Bradley in the lineup, which I thought might be an issue with the size of Florida State. A great win for Roy Williams and the Tar Heels. And Malik Monk, he just keeps doing what he's been doing, and that's shooting the ball with tremendous efficiency from beyond the arc.
He's looking to become only the 4th freshman in SEC history to lead the league in scoring. The last to do it was Chris Jackson of LSU. It's the largest lead of the game for the Cats. They're up 5. Johnson rejected by Gabriel, his second block. And now Fox off and running for Kentucky. Followed jam by Humphries. 7-point Kentucky lead. Shot clock in single digits. Dunans flies down the lane uncontested. That ends a 10-0 Kentucky run. Fox the lob. Humphreys another finish.
I mean, De'Aaron Fox can get wherever he wants on the basketball floor right now.
This game changed when Jared Harper left the game for Auburn. They turned the point guard position over to Ronnie Johnson. Lang, open from the wing.
You know, it's always a hard decision, especially if you're Bruce Pearl, because, you know, Jared Harper gives you, obviously, your best shot to win. But with this pace, you can't play 40 minutes. And I think maybe you go another possession, if that. You might have to get him back in the ballgame. But De'Aaron Fox, he's smelling blood right now.
Pushing it again, this time out to Monk. Skip pass, Briscoe, got it! Kentucky rolling. Isaiah Briscoe knocks down a three. Timeout, Bruce Pearl and Auburn. Kentucky 50% from two. They've hit 5 of 7 from deep. They only made 1 3 in their last game. This is not a great perimeter shooting Kentucky team, but then again, that might be a little nitpicky because they are one of the best teams in all of college basketball.
No question, one of the best offensive teams. We see Bruce Pearl at that timeout. Smartly goes back to Jared Harper at the point guard position, trying not to let this get away any more than it has. And there you go, right on cue, the young freshman.
Dominic Hawkins has entered the game for Kentucky, as has Derek Willis. So Briscoe and Monk, the only Kentucky starters on the floor right now for John Calipari. Humphreys in the paint, and Carl S. says he walked with it. Third turnover for the Cats. They do not turn the ball over. That's what's amazing about the pace of play with which John Calipari's team runs. They only turn it over 10 times a game.
And with the young players they have.
Yes.
I mean, you add all those ingredients. That's what makes it spectacular.
Isaiah Briscoe takes the offensive foul on the bump from Herron.
The foul is on Herron. That's his first, and it's on 6.
Isaiah Briscoe running the point right now for Kentucky. With some colorful sneakers on, by the way, and he's got a colorful personality, a strong one to help lead this team.
He does, you know, and he's taken on some of the lead guard when De'Aaron Fox is out of the basketball game. In fact, in their win against Vanderbilt, both De'Aaron Fox and Malik Monk picked up 2 early fouls. And Isaiah Briscoe had to man the point guard position for a lot of the game and has done a nice job. I mean, here's a guy that has improved a ton from his freshman to sophomore campaign, not just his efficiency. You see his assist-to-turnover ratio there, 4.8 to 1. I mean, that's insane. And, you know, he's a guy that gets after it defensively as well.
We've got a jump ball. Possession arrow will stay with Auburn. For more on Isaiah Briscoe, let's check in with Kaylee.
Well, Tom, this Cats team had to practice early on Thursday morning so Cal could get on the road recruiting. And when Cal walked in at 7:25 a.m., the guys were all clapping at him like he was late because Isaiah Briscoe had them ready to go. Cal said it was a great practice, and it really proved something to him about Briscoe's leadership.
Well, Briscoe was one of the last 2 guys off the floor yesterday. They've been making De'Aaron Fox stay late to work on his jumper. He wasn't alone. Briscoe was there working with him alongside assistant coach Kenny Payne. Wiley, the freshman, got knocked off balance and still converted. He has 6.
He's a nice looking prospect, isn't he?
Yes.
I mean, he's been in the program for less than a month, so still learning the college game. Fox
Lost it into Gabriel's hands, and he's able to draw the foul on Austin Wiley. It would be the first on Wiley, and that'll put Wenyon Gabriel at the free throw line.
The foul is on Wiley. That's his first and team 7.
Wenyon Gabriel's one of those guys on this team that's overlooked when you talk about the other stars. A freshman from Manchester, New Hampshire. For more, Kaylee, let's check in with you.
Well, Tom, tattooed on Winton Gabriel's wrist, wipe your tears, because that's the translation of the name Winton in Dinka, the language of his native tribe in South Sudan. Now, a year before Gabriel was born, his mother birthed the family's 4th child. She died in infancy, and Winton's birth was an opportunity for the family to wipe away the tears from those moments of heartbreak following her death. And Winton says he's felt like it's been his mission ever since to help his family do that.
It's an incredible story, Kaylee. We'll continue to tell the story of Winton Gabriel, how he went from the Sudan through Egypt and then ended up in New Hampshire and now in Lexington, Kentucky with a 6th-ranked team in the country. It's a 4-point lead for UK. Jared Harper is just a freshman running the point for this Auburn team. And he's able to find Lang, who goes back rim on it. Wiley had it for a brief moment. Now Fox. Fox finds Adebayo, and we got a blocking foul on Auburn, and that'll put Bam at the free throw line. Second personal on Lang.
If you want to be a good transition team, it starts with your point guard. And head up, De'Aaron Fox, surveying the floor, reading the defense, nice little touch pass, leading your big man, right? Not just leaving your big man out to dry, but leading him towards the basket, making him make an easy play. As few decisions as possible. You want the players on the fast break that you make the pass to have to make. You don't want them to have to make a ton of decisions. And great job there by De'Aaron Fox with the touch pass.
Bam Adebayo's got another coming his way, freshman from Little Washington, North Carolina.
Just getting better and better. I mean, you know, we've had Kentucky before earlier on in the season, saw them before in preseason practice, and you know, his improvement from month to month has been remarkable. His communication skills, defensively, being an anchor down in the paint. He's very aware as a post defender.
Bruce Pearl thought there's a chance Bam Adebayo might end up in an Auburn uniform. He visited Auburn on a recruiting trip. Also visited North Carolina State, where his good friend Dennis Smith has been running the point. That one was in and out of the hands of Harper. Briscoe pushes it. Too much for Bam. Take you back to before we got started out here today. Bruce Pearl on the floor at Rupp Arena. Hey, Bam, you remember me?
That's great.
Adebayo was the North Carolina Gatorade Player of the Year. That's a pretty good class to be part of. Herron couldn't finish it. Guys like Chet Capel, Antoine Jamison, Chris Paul. A guy named Michael Jordan.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Neek, James Worthy. The list goes on, and a big win for North Carolina today at home. That was the first ACC loss for Florida State. Mustafa Herron loses it. Briscoe first on the floor to try and cover it up. We've already had 3 of these here in the first half, Kara, and this time the possession arrow points to Kentucky. Fifth turnover for Auburn. Dunans will return. Five turnovers for teams shooting 56% from the floor, which has kept Auburn in this game. Nice back cut for Briscoe, and a blocking foul will go against Harper. And Isaiah Briscoe will go to the free throw line.
You know, the question mark for this Kentucky team is at the 4 position. I mean, we know about their guards. De'Aaron Fox, Malik Monk, Isaiah Briscoe. And the season that those 3 guys have had, Bam is starting to come along and a force in the paint. But who at the 4 position is going to step up and give this team some consistent production, some consistent minutes? We're seeing Winton Gabriel with his activity. I like the way he's played so far this afternoon. But that's the big question for this Kentucky team moving forward is what do they get from that spot? Is it by committee? Is there one guy that grabs it and says, hey, this is mine. I'm going to be the guy that's going to give us some consistency. You see Derek Willis over there. He's a part of that committee right now trying to fill that spot.
Matter of fact, they went pretty deep down the bench last time. They're going to push off by Smith. 35 feet from the hoop on Briscoe. And that's a second on LaRon Smith. Watch on the right side of your screen as Briscoe comes out on Smith. Yep. They even played Michael Mulder at the 4 in their last game, 2 games ago against Arkansas. Briscoe got happy feet and gives it right back to Auburn. There's always a meaning behind the madness for John Calipari. Told us yesterday, he said, yeah, Michael Mulder provided our best option when the other guys got in foul trouble, but we also need to remind people that nothing is guaranteed when it comes to minutes. And if I can go to somebody else at your position, then you better perform. Brown will let it fly. Off the mark, and Briscoe's got it. Isaiah Briscoe finds Fox, spot up 3, got it. Kentucky 10th in the country in assists. You see why. Now another takeaway. Fox. Corner 3, Mulder. Kentucky rolling again. This is what they do.
Mulder some dap. Cal giving him some dap. Excited for the young man off of the bench, getting an opportunity to make a play there.
How much improvement have you seen from Michael Mulder since he first stepped on campus?
My arms can't stretch as far wide. Tom, I watched the early practice last season, and I thought, I don't know if Michael Mulder will ever see the court. I mean, he just looked lost out on the basketball court. His first season, remember, junior college transfer, so last year was his first season here in Kentucky. And he has come a long way to now being able to be trusted with minutes in John Calipari's rotation.
Adebayo picks up his dribble. Go back into the big fella, working on McLemore. Got a little deep, but still converted. That's the first field goal for Bam Adebayo. Largest lead for Kentucky, now at 13. And we get a trip on Wenyon Gabriel. It's his first personal foul. Tomorrow night, we'll have the 15th annual Martin Luther King Jr. celebration game on ESPN, 9 p.m. Eastern, as the Bulls take on the Memphis Grizzlies. It's also streaming live on the ESPN app, and watch ESPN. Speaking of the NBA, a lot of guys on the floor. They're going to make a lot of money playing the game at the next level. Able to break the press. And Harper has it again. It's one of the reasons we've got so many scouts and GMs in the building tonight. They might double those numbers when Kansas comes to town in a couple of weeks. Harper's got 7. Fox, what speed. He just glides up the floor, and he earns a foul. He'll go to the free throw line. John Calipari knows something about getting guys to the league. How about $1.2 billion in contracts? That's more than the Cavaliers franchise is worth.
That's with a B.
B.
Wow. Yeah, I don't have much to say after that. I mean, that is, look at that. 24 Kentucky players on the opening day roster this year. And, you know, the thing about these guys in the NBA is they're not just playing in the NBA, they're striving. Marcus Cousins, Anthony Davis, John Wall, Carl Anthony Towns. Kentucky is almost doubling up the second best institution in Duke, putting players into the first round of the NBA draft. 21 since 2010.
How about the fourth quarter Devin Booker had Thursday night? He had 28 points in the fourth quarter for the Suns, hit 5 threes. And by the way, when he came to campus, that wasn't a guy that many thought would leave early. Johnson got a half step on Briscoe. And that's the second on Kentucky's Briscoe.
Well, every morning when John Calipari gets to his office, he has a printout, a sheet of the last night's games in the NBA, highlighted with what former Kentucky players did in those games. And so he'll look and see what some of his guys did and send texts, and that's his way of keeping up with what's going on in the NBA.
Well, lately that is heavy reading. I mean, that's like War and Peace. Not the DJ War and Peace who's in the building tonight, but the book.
DJ War and Peace is my guy.
He's your guy. Yeah. He had you moving pregame. Lonnie Johnson has been in double figures each of the last 2 games for Auburn. He had 13 in their win Tuesday night against Kim Anderson's Missouri squad. There's your guy, DJ War and Peace on the 1s and 2s.
I thought it was Ben Boulware from Clemson at first when I saw him, but then I realized he had a parade today. Ben was busy today.
Mulder straight ahead 3. And it's yanked down by TJ Dunans.
Red Rhinell's team, I think, was able to come back and win their game at home today following Dabo's parade. Dunans on Adebayo. Little floater's good. What does Auburn need to do offensively in this game?
Yeah, I really think it starts with their defense, actually, Tom, and getting back, right? So offensively, what I would say to you is make shots so they can set their defense, because every time it's been a miss or it's been a live ball turnover, Kentucky's been able to run at them. They've been able to get their half-court defense set like that. They've had better results.
John Calipari doesn't like that shot from Malik Monk. He said if you're going to shoot that pull-up jumper with a hand in front of you, do it with 6 seconds left on the shot clock. He said 6 seconds left.
Plays here down the stretch. You have to have confidence. You have to have confidence in what you do, and that's something that is not in short supply for T.J. Dunans.
Hawkins back on the floor for the Cats. Willis is as well, and he hits the long jumper. Pearl's team putting this little run together with a couple of key starters on the bench right now, Harper and Wiley. Dunans leaves it short. Fox lost it on his way up. Hawkins is there. And very often you see De'Aaron Fox go so fast that he loses control. McLemore with the rebound. Ronnie Johnson running the point. Bryce Brown. And it's rebounded by Monk. You don't get a lot of those. Going to hold on McLemore as Adebayo is posting him up. It's a second on the freshman from Warwick, Georgia. And Bam Adebayo will be at the free throw line. Isaac Humphries will return. And Bruce Pearl's going to get a couple of subs in a moment.
Both sides here a little bit longer. Pace has been something fierce.
Austin Wiley returns. Lang back on the floor for Auburn. If Bruce Pearl can keep this to single digits at the half, he would be thrilled. Back to 11 now.
So we talked about it at the top, Tom, but they're doing all this without Benjel Purifoy, who's their best all-around player, and would give them a little bit of a matchup advantage at that 4 position if he were playing. So this has been a solid first half to this point for Auburn.
Coach Pearl told us at shoot-around today, he said, listen, I'm not worried about keeping it close. I want to play our style. There's no difference to me because I'd rather get beat by 30 and run what we run than changing what we do just to keep it respectful.
Well, you want to get better, and you want to use this as an opportunity to give your players a chance to see what an elite offense, what an elite defense is and going against, and he's getting that opportunity this afternoon.
So Wiley with the foul. It's his second. Let's get back to the studio and check in with Doug Kazarian.
Back to Rupp Arena for the end of the first half.
All right, Doug, thank you. While we were away, Dominic Hawkins hit a free throw, then Auburn turned it over, and now the Tigers trying to make something happen towards the end of the half, and a nice spin move by T.J. Dunans. Carol, what's your reaction to 91 in a row for Gino and company?
Well, first off, congratulations to Gino Auriemma and the UConn Huskies, and I am surprised because the non-conference schedule that they played this year, I thought they would take at least 1, maybe 2 losses. And the growth of this young team in the early part of the season, it's just remarkable. A testament to Gino Auriemma and his coaching staff.
Hawkins nearly gave it up. He gets it back and drills a 3. So 91 consecutive wins for UConn's women's basketball team. If Gino keeps that up, he might be on the CalCast a second time this season.
He might. He might be on the Cal. Have you listened to the CalCast?
I have. I didn't listen to the Gino one, but
I don't know if John Calipari really understands how a podcast works in this regard. He said, you know, we cut a lot from that podcast. Gino talking about his background, how he got into this, his family background. But Cal, that's the definition of a podcast. You don't have to cut anything. Let it all play. T.J. Lang has his third 3 of the game. Meanwhile, Kentucky has hit a season-high 8 first-half threes. Monk. Oh, wow. And there's a danger of overplaying Kentucky anywhere on the floor. Dunans going one-on-one with Willis.
Willis struggles a lot when they switch like that, and he's having to go against the perimeter player. And Dunans saw the matchup he liked and took advantage.
Monk on the back cut, and he got bumped in the air. T.J. Lang says, my bad, that's his third. Malik Monk can shoot it from deep. He's the top scorer in the SEC. He can also do this.
Yeah, 0 to 100 and 0 to, 11 feet? I mean, as quick as anybody in terms of his vertical jump. And Malik Monk, just a special player. And, you know, I've been so impressed with his efficiency. I mean, here's a guy that's scoring at a tremendous clip, but he's shooting over 50% from the field and 40% from 3. And guys know that he's the top scorer. They know he's the lead dog, and he still has the ability to score with great proficiency.
Alpha Romeo halftime report coming up. We'll talk about UConn's 91st consecutive win. When we come back in the second half, we'll talk about this team speed for Kentucky. Specifically, De'Aaron Fox versus John Wall. Well, Bruce has worked up quite a lather on that Auburn sideline now. His team is down a dozen. He's watched Dunans go to work. And a follow jam by Horace Spencer. 10-point deficit. Once again, single digits at the half. And it's a totally different feeling for Auburn in the visitors' locker room. Gabriel ill-advised, and it's back to the Tigers with 38.5 left.
Oh, he's excited. I mean, he has to be pleased with their effort. He certainly made some mistakes, some turnovers that led to some Kentucky runouts, but his guys have played hard. I think he's subbed very well in this first half in terms of keeping guys fresh, keeping a rotation of players out there. Somebody's got to come back and help Harper here.
Harper finally gets it. He's only played 11 minutes in this first half.
Auburn much better the second time around than Harper went out of the game in the first.
Here come the trap Dunans. He whips it over to Harper. Shot clock at 8. And a shuffle of the steps from Bryce Brown and a walk. Turnover number 8 for Auburn.
Bruce Pearl is incensed at Bryce Brown for not shooting the basketball. That's what he does. I mean, he's a guy that certainly has struggled with his shot in his sophomore campaign. He shot 37% from beyond the arc as a freshman, but it's a little bit hesitant there. Sometimes you know your numbers. You know what you're shooting, and that might have played into his hesitation.
Shot clock off. Fox down the paint. It rolls home for the speedy freshman. Auburn to beat the buzzer. Little late from Brown and wide. It's a 51-39 lead for Kentucky over Auburn. It's their 12th 50-point half this season.